The Canadian Hydrogen Fuel Cell Association's goal is to advance the commercialization of hydrogen and fuel cell technologies in Canada and overseas. This organization works with companies, academia, and research agencies to help them develop and advance fuel cell technologies. Today, I'm joined by Ivette Vera Perez, who will let us know how hydrogen is having rapid growth here in Canada. Why, hello, Ivette. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for having me.
It's great on this cold, winter day. Here we are. We're chatting, and we're talking about hydrogen and the Fuel Cell Association. So, first, tell me a little bit about your background and what led you to the Canadian Fuel Cell Association.
Yeah, thanks. I'm a Havana, Cuba native.
Mm-hmm.
I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering in Cuba, and I came to Canada in year 2000. I did my grad school at UBC, and then later I did an MBA at McGill. So I've always worked at the intersection somehow between clean tech and innovation. My very first job in Canada was at a biofuels company, biomass to biofuels. So this is to this day, this is a very dear topic to me as well, very close to my heart. Then after completed my MBA, I worked with my very first client in the hydrogen sector. And I guess I fell in love with the space. I later went on to manage a greenhouse gas reduction fund out of Ontario for industrial emitters. And then hydrogen again was among the technologies that I worked with. And then I started volunteering for groups such as the Hydrogen Business Council. So I learned a lot more about hydrogen and went on to found, together with some really amazing people here in Ontario, the Ontario Clean Technologies Industry Association. And that then gave me hands-on experience on how intricate, how important the role of an industry association is. Then I at the same time, I was leading the industry-facing team at a group called MyTax that you may know about. They do industry academic collaboration and talent development. And I had the chance to develop our own clean tech strategy, contribute to Canada's FDI, foreign direct investment strategy for hydrogen. So I guess, moving to a full-time job in hydrogen was probably the next natural step for me. And that's how I got to the Canadian Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Association today.
Well, that's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about the association and, how's it helping shape the industry?
Right. So at CHFCA, we strive to be a unified voice for the hydrogen sector in Canada. And this is really important because we are in the very early stages of the industry. So we need a very strong voice nationally, also internationally, right, to be recognized as a major player in hydrogen. And this will enable the industry to scale to get to the scale we need. Hydrogen is really not new, but hydrogen as an industry in the scale that we're looking at, it is new. So it's a nascent industry. And what we want to see is the industry to scale as rapidly as possible so that this can allow hydrogen costs to come down to a competitive level. So we have close to 200 members by now. Mm-hmm. And to serve them best, it's a lot of members covering the whole spectrum of the hydrogen value chain and the whole spectrum of a company, the life cycle of a company from startup to SME to M&Es, right? So different needs. And to serve them best, we are also developing an affiliate model. So each province of region has its own executive director who's able to provide value at the regional level. So it's that boots on the ground model, if you will, and then also hold closer relationship with the members, understand their needs, understand what it is, the gaps that we have for the sector to get to scale. So very member focused, and we also have a number of collaboration agreements with other regions where we don't have an official affiliate yet.
Now you mentioned, you do a little bit of awareness and education. There will be a lot of that involved because you are a new organization.
100%. So I would say that no day on the job is the same as the previous day, to be very honest. So that it keeps it very entertaining. But awareness and education is at the core of what we do. Just us talking about hydrogen, right, and discussing hydrogen, also demystifying some of the aspects of hydrogen and some dated notions about hydrogen. Getting everyone from end users familiarized with hydrogen. At the end of the day, this will be the adopters, right, of hydrogen, understanding also their needs and the specs that they would need in a fuel, for example, right? Working with municipalities is extremely important. Working with the provincial governments, with the federal government, with the different players within the value chain that are looking to also get into the hydrogen space. So I would say that awareness and education is going to be one of the core elements of our work for a long time to come.
Absolutely, it should be. Transporting ammonia, from coast to coast, it has a lot of complexities. We're not a flat country. I mean, there's, you have mountains through. So can you tell me what some of the challenges would be?
Right. So, I mean, transporting hydrogen in general, right? It is clearly a crucial part of the process of bringing the product to the end user or to the points of shipping, for example, right? From production point to whatever that hydrogen is going. The options to consider, and I don't think that we will be speaking about literally from coast to coast moving hydrogen or ammonia, at least not now. There's the European backbone being developed, but we're not there yet, right?
Right.
So the options to consider when we are moving hydrogen via hydrogen itself or carriers would be one example. Pipeline, ammonia by rail, and then when we ship to other continents, the options would be ammonia, which is an option that is very much present and likely the one to soonest happen. And there are other carriers as well. There's methanol, there's liquid organic hydrogen, and each of these have complexities. Now, the logistics of moving ammonia is actually quite well known, and this is a positive. Now, obviously, moving ammonia in the volumes that we're talking about is novel, and new. So ensuring the loads can be costly, and also it's just important to do it safely and smoothly. It's really important for the industry to ensure safety. So that that awareness element, that education element, together with moving hydrogen in whatever carrier it is safely, can provide that added reassurance to industry, to government, to the population in general, right? To you and me as well.
Well, when you mention safety or safely, because it's very explosive, is it,
Well, hydrogen is a fuel. If you want to combust it, it better react in the presence of oxygen. Now, otherwise it wouldn't be a fuel. That applies to propane, that applies to natural gas, that applies to gasoline.
Right.
We do need them to ignite, for example, or we do need them to release energy in a fuel cell, right? Otherwise they would not be able to be a fuel. Now, hydrogen is interesting because hydrogen is also extremely light. It's the first element in the periodic table, right? So if there is a leak of hydrogen and it goes into the air, it will just, go up into the atmosphere. And how and when an explosion would happen. There are a lot of elements that need to concur for that to happen. So it is, as any fuel, needs to be handled with care. but it is not more explosive than other fuels would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I never would have thought of that, the safety component of it. So getting back to the association and the role that you play there, how do you listen to your members? Can you give us a couple of examples of how you've listened to them and addressed their issues?
So that is actually a very, very important question. I have a large board, and that actually allows us to bring members from coast to coast to the board from the different elements that we mentioned, right, of the supply chain. So that means that they can help shape the direction of the association, different pathways, different priorities, producers, consumers, groups along the supply chain providing services. So this helps me listen to what these different groups have to bring. That's really important. We have a number of committees, and the members participate very actively, and the committees also help shape the direction of the association. That's really important. Government relations and communications, talking about awareness, right, are some of our core committees. They're very well attended with members from coast to coast. There's also innovation. And we're very fortunate. I would say that a lot of our members tend to be extremely good citizens of the organization. So I get a lot of help developing the best governance structure for growth, positioning us for growth. So we have governance and finance committee as well. But in addition, we have what we call Member Monday webinars. These are member-only spaces to have discussions. The new members present. We strive to help develop also B2B relationship between the members. At almost 200 members, there are a lot of relationships that can happen internally, and it's really gratifying to see when you can make an introduction and that can result hopefully in a business deal for them. We also have topic webinars, and the members can choose what they want to present. We also have annual, and that's a lot of what we're doing now. Beginning of the year, we talk about the advocacy priorities for the different members for the year, right? What do you want us to focus on? What are your main pain points? What are the things that you want to achieve? How can we help you do that? And then, having reached a critical mass number of members, we ensure that every member has a point of contact in the association. I come from the business development background, so I'm used to having a team of account managers managing relationships. So relationship holders, so that the members know that there's someone they can pick up the phone and speak with one of us and discuss the issues, the priorities, and what needs to happen by when. And the space is so moving so fast that we have a lot of this sort of touching with the companies.
How is the business of hydrogen changing in Canada? Do you have any examples of how it is?
So there's it is changing, and it is changing very rapidly. And what I see is that there's an increase in interest and understanding of hydrogen since the 2020 launch of the Canadian Hydrogen Strategy. There has been a lot of interest in Canada, also internationally, and then you see the number of partnerships between the East Coast and the EU, and there are also new partnerships being formed between the West Coast and the Indo-Pacific region. So a lot more activity in the sector that resulted in new initiatives, new funding, and hopefully very soon finalized legislation for the clean hydrogen ITC. So a lot more activity in the sector, major projects under consideration, no major projects at FID right now, but I believe that is coming.
Right. No, it's good. So what does 2024 look like? It's a new year. What does hydrogen and the fuel cell industry itself, how does it look?
So I was talking to someone about this the other day, and to me, 2024, we have done a lot of groundwork, right? 2024 is an action year, so we really need to get stuff done. We need to, it's a critical year for hydrogen. That's how I set my mindset coming into the year, refreshed from the holidays. We have like I mentioned, the clean hydrogen ITC legislation under review right now. We're extremely active in providing feedback as we speak. So I encourage you and everyone actually to provide feedback, to come to me or to us at CHFCA to ensure that we can elevate your voice. So it's a crucial year. We have an instrument, an ITC, and there are other ITCs that are actually quite complementary to. So we need to make sure that they are effective and efficient, so that they can help scale up the sector as directed by the Canadian Hydrogen Strategy. So this is one of those action items. It's happening this year. We have the opportunity this year, as we speak, during the review period, to develop an ITC that is competitive, that attracts investment to Canada, all that happening into 2024, right? Especially when you consider IRA 45B legislation that is delayed. So we have a window here that we definitely need to exploit. So it's very active year. It's a year for action, if I can sum it up.
Well, I wish you all the continued success with you and your organization as you do great things to advance hydrogen in Canada. And there's a lot of interest in it, and there's a lot of awareness and education that needs to take place. So Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
It's really great to see how hydrogen and fuel cell technology is having its moment here in Canada. Thanks, Ivette, for joining me today. This podcast is sponsored by the awesome people at Smart Energy Halifax. The Smart Energy event takes place here in Halifax every April, and registration is going on now, so make sure you sign up. In the meantime, I'm your host, Maria McGowan. Thanks for joining me today.